Hi there, I'm Darrell Finlayson, and I work as a ski patroller full-time up in Park City at Deer Valley Resort, and I patrol 100% of the time on Telemark equipment. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Rottefella NTN bindings from the perspective of patrolling and working on that binding on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so I've patrolled on both of Rottefella's binding models, the Freedom and the Freeride, and today we're going to compare and contrast the two different models in terms of my experience as a patroller and working on the binding on a daily basis. Okay, so this is the Rottefella Freedom NTN binding. I patrolled on these for about a year, and I was attracted to this binding initially because it was lighter than the Freeride by about a pound. I think this comes in just over 3 pounds. What I found, however, is that the opening and closing mechanism was a little too fidgety for my tastes. So when you open up the binding, it's similar to the Freeride. You pop it up, the binding's open, and then when you close that cocking lever, this second stage switch is still up. So now the binding is set up to be in touring mode for skinning uphill. So to ski away, ski downhill, you have to take the second step of closing the tour latch. So as patroller, stepping out of my binding and then stepping back in to ski away, having to do that extra step was, for my tastes, a little too fiddly. The other thing I found is that the opening and closing lever is a little more prone to getting clogged with snow in deep snow, especially if the snow is a little wet and packy. And because it's a lighter weight construction, it's a little more fragile. So if you're trying to force the lever closed, you can end up bending some parts if you're not careful. So in that case, you'd have to maybe cycle the lever a few times to clear the snow, then hit the tour switch and ski away. Okay, this is the Rottefella Freeride NTN binding. And I switched to this binding for a couple reasons. I've been skiing on this binding for 3 seasons now. This is probably the binding setup I ski 95% of the time on when I'm at work. So the big difference is it's heavier and sturdier construction. This is about a pound heavier than the Freedom. And the other difference, the step in and step out mechanism, is a little simpler to use. You flip the lever up to step out, and when you close the lever, either by stepping on it with your boot or pushing it down with your ski pole, the binding is automatically locked into ski mode. So the extra step would be to lift this lever up if you wanted to have the binding set up for skinning mode. So again, that's open, you step out, slam the lever closed, and you're automatically locked into ski mode and you can ski away. In terms of the Sturdier Construction, it's also a little less prone to get clogged with snow, the way the mechanism is set up. And if there is some snow clogging the mechanism, it's a lot easier to kind of cycle that lever a couple times and just slam it closed. You don't have to worry about bending anything. And it's a little more solid lockdown mechanism when you're dealing with powder or deep wet snow in the spring. From my perspective, I think the Freedom is a great binding for somebody who wants to use an NTN boot, but is interested in doing more touring, longer skins, and wants the lighter weight binding. Whereas the Freeride is a better binding for resort-based use, working on the binding or just bashing around at the resort. As a day in and day out binding, it's a little sturdier. So while it's heavier at the resort, that's not really an issue. And the sturdiness and ease of use is more of an advantage. Thanks a lot for checking out this video. If you want more information about Telemark skiing, more gear reviews, or news articles, check out telemarkskier.com.